actually feel
happy
excited
because I
today.
feel like my hair is looking so shiny.
Hey, your hair looks amazing.
Thank you.
What did you do?
I used my little knockoff like Dyson Airwrap to give myself a blowout,
I love that.
which I do like twice a year, which is why I bought a knockoff and not a real Dyson Airwrap.
Wow, today was one of 2 days that you're going to do that this year, and we're only in January.
Yeah.
Girl.
I know. So
Okay.
maybe I'll do it more.
The
We'll
special
see.
app in honor of
It's
our
a
president,
special app. Yeah.
Zohran Mamdani.
I'm excited to talk about it, to learn about him.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to talk about him.
Yeah.
But before we do, what's going on with you? What's alive in the culture? What have you been thinking about?
What have I been thinking about? I feel like I'm always thinking about like 7 different pop culture random things.
Yeah, she's our pop culture correspondent.
I really am. Did you see the Brooklyn Beckham Instagram post?
Please fill me in.
Yeah, so I have not been following this like particularly closely, but there has been sort of this like ongoing public feud between Brooklyn Beckham, who is David and Victoria Beckham's oldest kid. Victoria Beckham, Posh Spice. David Beckham, soccer player. Yeah. And he, I think maybe 2 years ago, he got married to this woman, Nicola Peltz, I think. And she's the daughter of this like American billionaire family, like this American dynasty. They had like obviously this like gigantic royal wedding, and David and Victoria Beckham have basically been like, she's like stolen our son, like she's so toxic, she's keeping him from us, she like won't let him talk to us anymore. And everyone has been kind of like giving them the benefit of the doubt in this narrative. Like they have, I guess, just like good reputations, and people tend to think they're like good parents, and he really has this like awful controlling wife. And I think him and his wife have been like pretty much silent until yesterday. He made this like 7-slide Instagram post saying like, my parents are actually so toxic and like have been controlling me my whole entire life, and like just like accusing them of all these horrible things. Like they were like Victoria Beckham has her own like design label. So apparently, allegedly, she was supposed to make Nicola's wedding dress, and she like pulled out at the very last minute, just like completely screwing her over before their wedding.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he said, my parents like manipulated, and he said like threatened or blackmailed me to sign over the rights to my name. So like I wasn't really sure what that meant entirely, because he was like, this would have affected, I looked into it a little more, because he was like, this would have affected me and my wife and our future children.
Okay.
I think what it sounds like is it was like the like money making rights to their name, so he could not make money off of like being a Beckham. Exactly. Neither would like his wife or kids be able to, which is messed up.
That's absurd.
Yeah, and he was saying that they were trying to basically like threaten and bully him into doing that.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he refused. But then the craziest part is coming.
Yeah.
So he was like, not to even mention, this is, I think we're already like 4 slides in when we get to this. But he's like, at my wedding, my parents humiliated us. And he said, I was supposed to have this romantic first dance with my wife. Like it had been planned for weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And then apparently when the first dance came, his mother got up on stage and started like, he said something like,
wasn't it like
dancing,
she was dancing inappropriately?
Yes. And then he was like, which is crazy.
That's absurd.
I mean, that's like a little.
Come on, that's monster-in-law behavior.
Monster-in-law. It's crazy. It's
oh my god, so she's like the ultimate like boy mom.
Yeah, yes. Her ultimate boy mom, I think, is exactly what's going on. Ultimate like nightmare mother-in-law. Like it's just crazy.
Can you imagine if you were getting married to someone and their mom came and danced inappropriately on them,
and he was like wedding? In front of our 500 wedding guests. And then he went on to be like, we're actually thinking about planning a second wedding.
Yeah.
So we can have memories of our day that are like positive instead of like humiliating and stressful, which is really sad. But like,
it is really sad.
I don't know. I feel for them. I feel like
me too.
It's just really interesting though how like the narrative flipped so quickly. I feel like because people were really on like David and Victoria Beckham's side. Like it seems like people. I really like was not following very closely up until this point, because that explosive Instagram post came out, and I was like, wait, I'm tuned in.
Yeah. Wait, so are people just kind of like what's the son's name?
Brooklyn.
Why would Brooklyn lie about this? Like, they're just kind of immediately on his side because he doesn't really have a motive.
So yeah, I think he doesn't really have a motive, because I think he's and his wife have been like pretty quiet throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I think he like unfollowed all his siblings on Instagram, and vice versa. And then I think his wife like archived family photos with like her in-laws in it. So it was like clear that there's something going on there.
Yeah.
But they hadn't really like said anything, and I think David and Victoria Beckham had been saying a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
So it really is. I don't know. Like,
so
I think I believed him. It's
Yeah.
like, why would he? And it's also like so detailed. Like,
and I think people often don't want to like, cut off their parents. People mostly don't want to do that, and when they do have to do that, it's mostly because they've been like pushed to do that.
Yeah, it's like a last resort.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel for him, but I think they're really young too. I want to say they're like under 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
So it's sad.
That's sad. Yeah. Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Thank you for sharing.
So developing story. I will be following and updating.
Yeah, please do. God.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's all I got.
You don't want to talk about Queer Eye?
Let's talk about Queer Eye.
Yeah.
And then we'll cut it out if it's not interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, I saw today that the Queer Eye guys are in some drama.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing a long time ago that there had been like some accusations of like a toxic workplace and stuff, specifically against Jonathan Van Ness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was several people who worked on the show that maybe wanted to remain anonymous, but said that Jonathan is like, they were saying really crazy things about them, like that they just have this like scary temper and are like really rude and toxic and awful to work with. Like, honestly, Leah Michelle level kind of allegations is what JVN was getting. Yeah, which is crazy. But there were just all these rumors that a lot of them like really didn't get along. At one point, Bobby, who was like the interior design guy, left the show. And it came out that I think what happened is he thought the show was ending, but they renewed everyone else's contract except for him.
Oh my God. That is such mean girl behavior.
It's so shady.
What the heck?
So it just seems like there have always been probably like massive issues with like
transparency, communication.
Yeah, and just like within the whole show, like the production, everything, right? Because it's obviously not just like the cast if like his contract's not getting renewed. Yeah. So I didn't even realize until I saw this video today. Like, I just hadn't thought about them in a while because I feel like that show hasn't been super popular or relevant for some time. But 4 of the cast members did an appearance on, I think, the Today Show, some like morning talk show, and Karamo was not there, and he had like apparently pulled out an hour before.
Whoa.
And he had issued this statement basically being like, I'm such a proponent of people always like choosing. I actually want to pull up his statement if I may.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So Karamo pulled out of this appearance 1 hour before, and they were supposed to do this live interview. And he issued a statement that the host read to the other 4 live on air.
Whoa.
Which I think is kind of crazy. Like, she was like, now I know there's someone who's not with us today, and it's the elephant in the room, so I really just want to address it right up front and get it out of the way. Like, you knew what you were doing. Anyway, but he said, though the show is ending, I hope everyone remembers the main theme I have tried to teach them over the past decade, which is to focus on and to protect their mental health and peace from people or a world who seek to destroy it, which is why I can't be there today.
Whoa.
So that's like rather vague.
It's vague, but also very bold, you know?
Yeah.
People who try to destroy my mental health and peace.
I know.
Yeah.
And then, so I watched the clip of the interview, and Anthony says something like, we're like very surprised, and of course we like love him and wish him the best, blah blah blah. And then the new guy, who I don't even know his name, I wasn't even aware that like
Neither
Bobby,
do I.
yeah, but I think he replaced Bobby.
Okay.
And he was like, well, I will say that I know I'm the new gal here, but I've had nothing but positive and uplifting experiences within this group, and it's been like amazing and life changing. And I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah, he had to say that.
I didn't like that at all.
No, I didn't.
So,
I don't either.
I feel like the situation's not really like transparent enough for me to fully say like who, I don't know, like who's at fault, whose side I'm on.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like a little bit of everyone is being toxic and shady. I don't really know, but there there's drama brewing against the Queer Eye guys.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe not brewing. Maybe just like coming to a climax.
Yeah, it's been brewed.
It's been brewing.
Yeah. But yeah, it sounds like the tea is piping hot, and I would definitely be curious to learn more. Hopefully more details come out, and maybe someone will do an expose or write a little have a little tell all sit down moment.
I know.
Where's Oprah?
I am so curious. Where is Oprah?
Yeah, because now it's time for Oprah to scoop in and
to sit down with Karamo,
give us the tea. Yeah.
I really am. I'm just left very curious because that was certainly a bold move to pull out of an interview at the last minute, but also his statement was so vague.
It's so vague. Like, what does that mean?
Like, what happened?
Yeah, of course we're all gonna be like, what happened? And if he's not saying anything, it's like, that's so interesting.
That's the drama I'm following today.
Well, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Should we get into our topic for today?
We should.
Yeah. Okay, so today we are talking about Zohran Mamdani, and to start us off, I kind of just want to play a little intro track.
The name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. The name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. You should learn how to say it, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. You should learn how to say it, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. The name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. The name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. You should learn how to say it, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. You should learn how to say it, because we have won.
When that came on at the club, well, that didn't come on. Hollaback Girl by Gwen Stefani came on.
Yeah, but that should have come on. No, that is just an absolutely iconic track. And I think really like is very emblematic of some of the key themes that we'll talk about today. Like just how honestly authentically tapped into the culture Mamdani is in like a real way that I've honestly never seen from another political candidate.
Because that went super viral like in the weeks leading up to the election. Right?
Yeah. And just like what it means to run on a platform that is truly like created by community and because I think that video was not created by his team. It was just like a fan who felt really inspired, and I feel like that just kind of speaks to how much Mamdani resonated with people and how communal the effort was to like get him elected.
Yeah, totally.
So we'll kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
But
can I ask something on that point, sort of?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember the leading up to the 2024 election, Brat Summer, right after Joe Biden dropped out of the race, Charlie XCX tweeted, "Kamala is Brat."
Yes.
And people immediately started making fan edits of Kamala to like songs from Brat and everything. But I also think a lot of people would say like that was not a campaign that was very organic or like really spoke to the needs of like regular people.
Yeah.
What do you feel like the differences there?
Oh my God.
The key differences, or like why I don't know. They both had these kind of like viral moments, but what do you think differentiated Mamdani's campaign?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. And I let me think. From my perspective, the key difference is like the candidates themselves, right?
Yeah.
Mamdani being 34. How old is Kamala?
I think like 60 something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I think that Mamdani he's a digital native.
Yeah, he is.
And I know from watching like interviews of his people from his marketing team and things like that, he played a really big role in the decisions behind a lot of the campaign and the strategies that they use to reach people. And so I think he just kind of genuinely is tapped in. Like I think his campaign got right what so many campaigns, both politically and just like popular brands try to do, which is be authentic. And I also think that his political stance, he's anti-establishment, he's a democratic socialist, he really is about challenging norms. And Kamala, I mean, she just isn't in the same way. She's an establishment dem, and I think that showed in terms of how they were speaking to and how much they resonated with people. Zohran really represented the working class through and through in an authentic way, and I think that just like resonated with so many people. So we'll get into it, but I think that's such a good question.
Yeah, no, I think that's very true. Sorry, I don't want to ask too many questions.
No,
I mean, a chance to talk.
Yeah, no, I think like that's honestly perfect and a really good question because thank you. Okay, so first maybe just a little bit about who Zohran Mamdani actually is. So Zohran is the current mayor of New York City and also my personal president.
Our mayor. We live in Virginia, but that's our mayor.
So he was elected this past November. He identifies as a democratic socialist, but he won the Democratic nomination against Andrew Cuomo, who is the former governor of New York. And he won the mayoral election with around 51% of the vote against the Republican candidate, Curtis Silwa, and then also Andrew Cuomo, who was running as an independent at that point.
Because he lost
the
Democratic primary, right?
Mm-hmm. That's so exactly. So it's just fascinating. And Cuomo got 41% of the vote. So it was as an independent. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, because he's a Democrat and New York is so Democratic. Yeah. Which also like kind of gets into some interesting like points that I think we can talk about. Like this was a really interesting election in that we got to see what it looks like when like establishment Dems run against more anti-establishment like Democratic socialists, especially in a very blue city like New York City. So I think it was sort of like it's like setting an example of like what politics could look like if the country were to move to be more progressive.
Yeah, and I think that is like why, like obviously we don't live in New York City, but I think why this election felt so significant and like why I personally found Mamdani so inspiring and like him winning this election so encouraging, because I think for years now a lot of people, especially younger people, have like felt kind of politically homeless. I don't know, like the Democratic Party is really quite moderate and has like not really done much of substance to stand up to Trump, and it does feel like maybe I think a lot of people felt this way about Bernie Sanders also, but maybe like the sort of old guard of the Democratic Party is falling out of favor and like something new might be able to take its place.
Exactly. And I think that this election really hopefully showed establishment Dems that when there's a candidate that really speaks to the needs and the desires of what people want, of working class people, what they need and want, that kind of can't be stopped, you know?
Yes.
And so it was a really momentous occasion, I think. And I'm so happy to be here and to be able to talk about it and to celebrate Mamdani's win.
To celebrate our mayor.
And future president.
The
The other, I guess, like important things to call out about Mamdani's background is that he was actually born in Uganda. And he's also New York City's first Muslim mayor, and he's of Indian descent. So, you know, this also feels important for the representation, to have an African in office, an Indian in office, and a Muslim person in office. I mean, I think that is truly such a sign of progress. And I think we'll talk about this as well, but just like his campaign was truly a reflection of the mix of his different identities, and his identity as a New Yorker as well. Yeah. And I think that's another reason why it really resonated with people. Yeah.
And I think having an immigrant as New York City's mayor too is significant, like especially at a time when like immigrants are really, really being attacked. I don't know, I found his election night speech very moving when I think he literally was like, Donald Trump, turn the volume up. Yeah. And he said New York City is for immigrants and as of now led by an immigrant.
Exactly.
And I just thought that was a really lovely sentiment.
Yeah, it was. We can really gush about how wonderful Mamdani is and the platform that he is championing. But today we're going to talk about the brilliance of his campaign, not just from a political one, but actually from a marketing one. And I think this is a really interesting topic to me because his campaign, it it really like kind of broke out of the category of political campaigns, in my opinion, to something that was much more transcendent, and much more kind of like tapped in and truly authentic. So like when I look at other political campaigns, they all seem to be this one kind of thing, and his was like way over here.
I'm interested to hear you talk more about this, because we were discussing this one day, and I think I said something like, I feel like the last time we saw a campaign like this was like Obama 08, and you were like, yeah, I still kind of think this is something different. So,
I do. I really genuinely do. I mean, for one thing, like we live in just such a different time. Like maybe if Obama were running for office now, he could have pulled off something like this, but I just think like we're in a very particular moment in terms of technology and social media. And so really the campaign that he ran on could have only happened now, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're worlds away from 2008 for sure.
Yeah. So, I'm curious what you thought about the campaign, what you remember seeing, and how it impacted you as someone who isn't living in New York City.
Yeah, I honestly, for a while, I wasn't following it super closely. His campaign, I think it did like spring up pretty quickly and kind of become a big deal pretty fast. So I think the first I really, really heard about him was when he beat Cuomo in the primary. And that was when I was kind of like, let me pay attention to this guy. This seems like kind of a big deal, like kind of a big historic thing that's happening here. And so then I started just paying attention to him more. I thought I think his messaging is incredible. I think he is an incredibly talented politician, messenger. And really, I think a lot of what worked about his campaign was like the simplicity of it. It was a lot of just like speaking to everyday people and regular working class New Yorkers and saying like, I want you to be able to afford groceries and childcare and rent. And like those, I think at the end of the day, those are the things people care about. Like I think we always say walking around our neighborhood, we're like, everyone just wants to live in a little house on a little street.
That's
and
all
like,
everybody wants.
But it's true.
Even if they don't know that that's what they want, I think at the end of the day, if you really interrogated them, that's what they want.
Yeah, and I think that's really true, is I think what people really care about and what like wins elections in turn is people just want to live in like relative security and safety with their family.
Yeah.
You know?
And people want to have dignity.
Yeah. And so I think I just, once I started paying attention to him, I was incredibly impressed with his messaging, that like viral takedown of Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
Where Cuomo's just calling him inexperienced, and he was like, well, I think he just called out all his like assault accusations and all these other, it was just like
in the debate.
Yeah, he's just so clearly like, not only does he have a good platform, but he is just clearly such a quick thinker, such a good speaker and messenger.
Yeah.
And then I also think you touched on this a little bit already, but like he is what, 35?
He's 34.
34. Okay. So seeing it's just so refreshing and encouraging to see someone in leadership, like in a major city, who was like close to our age and who is like relatable, and like his wife is, I think, a little younger, even closer to our age, and like literally went to college in our city. Like it's just they feel like real people.
Yes.
They're not coming from these sort of like dynasties of American politics. Like I think people are just so tired of like the Clintons and the Kennedys and all of that. And yeah, I just think that I hope that Democrats learn from this, or that if we don't, voters say too bad and continue to vote for more candidates like him.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, thank you for that take. I think that so much of what you like just said, we're going to touch on. So it's clear that, you know, any political campaign cannot be separated from the candidate itself, right? Like obviously who Mamdani is, the way that he speaks, the messages he stood for are the most important parts of like his campaign. But in my research, I kind of was like thinking about, okay, if it was purely a marketing task, and if we could try to remove Mamdani as the character and the figure as much as possible, like what will we be left with, and what kinds of strategic choices did his team make and did he make to kind of like uplift and platform his message? So that actually made me start to think about like, wait, what even is marketing? Why is it important? And why do we either need it or not need it? So I think like when we first think of marketing, or like at least the first associations I had with the word marketing were very negative.
Yeah, I think of like a tampon commercial.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, thinking of like selling toilet paper or skincare products. I wrote down other packaged goods. I think of manipulation, lies, and bending the truth. And this belief has really been prevalent for quite some time. Actually, Plato, like in the 4th century, compared pastry baking to rhetoric. So like rhetoric being communication for the art of persuasion. He basically said, well, the quote is, it guesses, meaning both pastry baking and rhetoric, guesses at what's pleasant with no consideration for what's best. So, you know, he really kind of called it out as like this phony sort of like lacking in substance thing. He said pastry baking, you're convincing the person who's eating it that they're eating something that is good for them. They're eating something that's good just because it tastes good, but really you're harming them. And so he really saw rhetoric as sort of the same thing. You're sort of pushing these ideas without actually having regard for how it impacts people.
Yeah.
And I think these like kinds of beliefs about marketing, like I really carried those beliefs until I started working in marketing, and I work in marketing for social impact. So I do marketing that supports things like encouraging people to vote or convincing them not to unalive themselves.
Right.
And yeah, so I have started to think about marketing as, you know, really just a tool for communication in a way that influences behavior. And yes, that behavior can, if co-opted, can serve capitalistic purposes, but it can also have the goal of serving the collective by influencing pro-social behaviors like voting or anything else. And it can also be inherently linked to, or it can also be linked to someone's values in a very authentic way, which I think Mamdani really pulled off. Like he, at every stage of his campaign, was making decisions that authentically spoke for his beliefs. And I think like that is truly why this campaign was so successful, because through and through he sort of like maintained the core values of democratic socialism.
And I feel like that's so rare in a political campaign, and that is something that really sets this apart. Is like, I don't know, he does seem like a person of integrity.
Yeah, he does.
And that is like, I think people of any political persuasion will tell you a lot of politicians do not seem that way, and are speaking to like what they think will get them elected rather than what they actually value and think is best.
Yeah. Exactly. So back to Mamdani. So again, everyone's been talking about the brilliance of his campaign, because I think like even just in the marketing world, people have been like freaking out, because
I want one of those t-shirts.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want a t-shirt. I want a button. I want a hat. Bag. Hot Girls for Mamdani, yes. I think was Hot Girls for Zohran. Yeah. I want that. You know, and people have been talking about just the brilliance of his campaign. There's so many articles, and I consulted a lot of different articles and YouTube videos and things like that I'll post down below in the sources. But I think like Mamdani's having his moment. He's the man of the hour, but also having a moment is the creative agency behind his work. So his design, his visual kind of design system was created by an agency called Forge Design Incorporated. And they're a co-op that consists of 2 members, Anish Bhupathi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Phil Ditzer.
Is the whole company 2 members?
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's 2 members, and their website literally has 0 information on it. Like, It's like they just put one up because of the Zohran campaign. I don't know if that's true, but you know, I know that they are an established agency, but they're really small and they're co-owned, and they're, you know, co-ops are democratic organizations that are controlled by their members. And so even just the choice of the agency that he chose, it just showed like how important these values are to him.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. And I think the agency members, I don't know much about them, but they seem pretty young, pretty hip, and I'd like to know more. Another person who was like influential to his campaign was his wife, Rama Duaji, and I just want to kind of take a moment to talk about her because she is such an icon, and I really enjoyed like learning about her, and I like everything she posts, I'm like, oh my God, you're so cool. Yeah. So she's a Syrian artist, and she's she previously went to VCU Arts. Shout out Richmond. And she helped with some of the designs in his campaign. She has previously like spoken out about how she kind of like rejects being a +1 and rejects a lot of the expectations that are placed on her as a first lady. And her art is deeply political and rooted in feminism. She really explores themes of, identity, womanhood in her work. And she apparently at one point said art is inherently political. It's in how it's made, funded, and shared.
Agree completely.
Yeah.
There's I think it's a Hosier interview, and he's like, he basically says a similar statement, and he's like, all art is political in some way. Like he's like, a 5-year-old drawing a picture of a house, political.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Exactly.
It really is. You cannot divorce that.
God, this is a tangent, but I totally agree. This is a tangent, but did you see her photo shoot in the Cut?
No.
Oh my God. Wait, you
but
literally did it?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh. Yes, I did see this.
Yeah. Just like what? Like this? Like she did like, I love it.
I think it was like 2 days before the election, she posted a photo dump on Instagram, and it was like photos of herself and her own art. And I think that's unheard of. Like she is, and she seems like a very supportive spouse, but also she is just like her own person, and she's not sort of like bowing to what's historically been expected of politicians' wives.
Exactly.
And I'm saying politicians' wives because I don't think politicians' husbands have the same expectations. But yeah, even her fashion is just, it's really, really breaking out of that. And I think about how like Michelle Obama like styles herself in recent years, and how she's kind of like been able to break free. And like obviously that was 20 years ago, and as like the first Black first lady, I don't think she had the freedom to really be like breaking out in the same way. But it is inspiring to see someone doing it.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that analysis. I think that she, I just really respect how committed she is to continuing to be a working artist, even when her husband's in office. And I recently watched a video by a YouTube creator named Kiki Agbor. I think hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he made a video called The Undeniably Chic Style of Rama Duaji, where he analyzed
that little bob, her cunty little bob.
I know. And he analyzed in it the Cut photo shoot that I just showed you, and that was sort of his kind of take. Like she was posing literally inside of a box, and the whole thing felt very surrealist and high fashion, and sort of that she was sort of saying that, you know, even the concept of getting inside of a box can also be a source of liberation if you use that box wisely, and if you are yourself within that box. So I feel like she being in office and being so committed to continuing to being a working artist is a testament, or like it really shows how art can be used to serve political goals, and how she can really be herself inside of this box, which is the role of being first lady. And this is the way that she chooses to speak about politics and to be political.
Yeah, love that.
So I really respected that. I feel like it was so apparent that Mamdani had true artists on the campaign, not just in terms of how aesthetic the visuals were, and obviously they were very cohesive as well, but just sort of how it understood art and design as central to the message itself. It used art to create these moments that felt deeply resonant with working class people. And it reflected Mamdani's unique personal identity and style. So I feel like it kind of was, you know, they really understood that the medium is the message.
Yes. Yeah. And even visually, like his campaign artwork was like very strikingly different from what we're used to seeing from politicians. And yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Which we'll definitely get into. Before we get into that really quickly, I just wanted to kind of talk about the funding behind the campaign. I just wanted to say that they used grassroots funding. He had a ton of donors who made mostly small donations, and then he used New York public matching funds to raise, honestly, he ended up raising more money than Cuomo in the end. Wow. So he raised around 16.8 million and eventually paused taking donations, whereas Cuomo had way fewer donors but raised 12.6 million. So he really did end up having like the funding to create a very iconic campaign. But again, how he received that funding was through these like inherently democratic socialist values.
Yes. Like, is it regular people donating like $20 at a time, or is it a couple of billionaires donating the maximum allowed amount at a time?
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, let's get into the visual identity of the campaign, which like was indisputably iconic. And if you're not familiar with the visuals of the campaign, he uses this like bright, like almost like is the word cobalt, like a bright cobalt blue, and then a striking orange as well, and like these very like primary, very saturated colors. And he uses this lettering that's very, very iconic as well. The lettering was inspired by traditional New York signage. There's a lot of classically hand-painted signs in New York, so like on bodegas or food carts and delis. And you know, I've read a couple of articles that really pointed out how those pieces of New York are inherently working class, you know, kind of referencing the bodega shopkeeper or the taxi driver. And it really just resonated with people and reminded people of a reality of New York City that most people are living day to day.
Yeah. And referencing like a crucial part of his campaign and platform, which is speaking to working class New Yorkers.
Yeah, exactly. Some of his like iconography and visuals were also inspired by Bollywood, which, you know, as an Indian candidate, Bollywood is being so iconic to Indian culture. It's just another personal nod to his heritage and to really spark pride in what it means to be an immigrant in the city, and what it means to be Indian American as well.
Yeah.
And I've even heard a lot of other speculations about the design choices and how they speak to other aspects of New York City identity. Like some say the color scheme is inspired by the Knicks, for example, or people talk about the taxis or the metro. And I think like none of them are wrong, right? But it's really cool that we can point to different design elements and think and see ourselves in it, or New Yorkers can see themselves in it, and kind of create this like unmistakable New York identity.
Definitely. That's cool.
Another thing in his visual strategy that was really, really genius in my opinion was that he kept it accessible. So the typefaces that he used, the fonts, were actually free. And
oh wow, that's really interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. Which not only speaks to his values, but it also makes them very easily reproducible. So anybody who wants to make a Zohran branded item can easily go in and use those fonts. So yeah, again, the imagery was bold and culturally relevant. It spoke to the working class and harkened back to a time when things felt simpler in New York City. And what I think is really cool is that even his haters adopted the iconic look.
Really?
Yeah, so there's this campaign called that I found on Instagram. Let me just show you it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, so what do you see?
I see, so this Instagram is using the colors you were talking about, this orange and very striking cobalt blue. Looks like the same font, just the same imagery.
Yeah. So I just think it's interesting that even when we're talking about like stopping Mamdani, like still like we can't help but adopt the iconic visuals of his campaign.
It is iconic.
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, that's a bit about the visual inspiration behind Zohran's campaign. But in terms of messaging, there were a couple things that really stood out to me. So the first was that, you know, you kind of touched on this when you talked about how this campaign resonated with you, but he really stuck with one single platform of affordability.
Yes.
So that clear language that directly spoke to the issue New Yorkers care about the most. I mean, I think that was like the single most defining factor in his campaign.
Makes sense. It's like a city that is becoming completely unaffordable for a lot of people who are New York natives.
Yeah, exactly. As opposed to Cuomo used, his slogans were like, ready on day one, to build a new NYC. And like, what do either of those slogans actually mean, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas Mamdani used, his slogan was for a New York you can afford. And then he featured signage that just clearly listed his campaign promises in accessible language, like freeze the rent, fast and free buses, hold bad landlords accountable.
Yeah.
You know?
Frank, you gotta get off. Go here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think people are really getting tired of politicians just speaking, like talking around questions and not answering them, and like really like the world of electoral politics being totally inaccessible to a regular person. And it's just not, I feel like most politicians, their messaging is not clear. It's not genuine. They do not clear it almost is like, I mean, it's like a joke that politicians cannot answer a question in a straightforward way.
Right.
And I think that Democrats especially have really been underestimating like how much people are wanting. Democrats in particular have really been underestimating how much people want a candidate that will just clearly speak to what they are going to do to help them in their everyday lives.
Yeah.
I think even when you look at like kind of the phenomena of like, there were people who voted for Bernie Sanders in the 2016 primary who then voted for Donald Trump in the general, and it's like, that seems like it doesn't make any sense, but I think it actually makes a lot of sense, because it's like not giving Trump any I don't want to say this.
No, I think you're right.
Okay.
I think this is like kind of what I wanted to get to in this conversation.
Okay. Yeah, they both, Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump and Zohran Mamdani, all ran as these very populist, sort of like working man's candidates.
Yeah.
Speaking directly to people very clearly about what they want to do, how they were going to fix the very real everyday issues in their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that just like, I think that's something that resonates with people way beyond even like a political identity of like Democrat or Republican.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's sort of what I mean by like, you know, let's have a conversation about the marketing behind it, you know, like, because each of those candidates, well, Trump and those other two candidates are so vastly different.
Right.
And obviously, like, the meat of their campaign, you know, Trump's campaign does not at all genuinely speak to what people need and what people what's going to be better for people, but he did tap into a campaign platform, and he used marketing to his advantage.
He did.
By having such clear messaging, such resonant messaging, and simple language.
Yes.
And I think that those strategic choices really catapulted him to where he is today.
It did. Yeah.
The other thing I think that really stood out about his campaign was just like the authentic joy, and then the moments of like in real life connection. So it just felt like a very joyous, very connected, very in real life, like somehow digital yet analog at the same time campaign. So one of the first things I saw from Mamdani were these like what they're called like man on the street style videos. So he walks around with a microphone and he talks to people, just everyday people. And that's a pretty common style of video, especially in New York City for brands. There's a ton of brands that have done this.
Yeah.
But it was so cool to see someone walking around and speaking to people about real issues that they care about, and using this like very established style of New York City advertising to to kind of like bring some substance and levity as well. People were just kind of like joking around as well and just being themselves, and it just kind of like felt very joyous, very personal, very connected.
And I also think that really is emblematic of like what electoral politics in this country could be at its best. I think this whole campaign is of like, ideally, I think it would be really cool if just like normal everyday people could run for office and have good ideas and talk to real people about like what they need and would make their lives better, and listen to them about that and like be able to win a campaign. But that so rarely happens because politics has just morphed into this machine that's like two parties and dominated by the ultra rich and funded by billionaires and corporations, right? So yeah, I think that's very cool to just see a candidate walking around and talking to his neighbors and community. Honestly, that's like what it should be.
And he also brought some levity to it, right? Like he was able to just kind of be himself and kind of connect with people like person to person. And it just felt so joyous. It felt hopeful in a way that I hadn't really seen.
That were severely lacking.
That I haven't really seen in a long time.
Well, I think that's interesting too, because we were just kind of saying like these things that his campaign actually had in common with Donald Trump's, but that is a place where I think they're the complete opposite, where I think Trump's campaign and presidency, both campaigns and presidencies, have been so fear-based and like just this like hateful, negative. There's no levity. It's like fear and anger and like this us versus them mentality. And it's in that way it's very, very different.
God, that's such a good point. So I think that actually ties into my next point, which is about how he used in real life events to kind of like almost spark this very lighthearted FOMO, not like an antagonistic or polarized type of, infight or like fighting between groups, but really just like ways to create a sense of identity with the campaign. So he, for example, had a scavenger hunt, or he had other little events that made people feel like they wanted to be a part of the movement and they wanted to show up and be, to support him in person. But that all it really took was to show up at this one location. You know, there's nothing beyond that it takes to be a supporter of Zohran's, except for to believe in these values and then to just show up and do your part and show up at the polls.
Which is cool because once again, it's like that's what democracy should be and like could be in its best form, is like something that everyone can participate in and be a part of, and that like works for us, and that and that we're a part of.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like he created the coolest club in NYC, but like everybody was invited. And so people,
this club has everything.
It has fast and free buses,
scavenger hunts, free childcare, holding bad landlords accountable.
Exactly. And so people from all over the world, like I saw on Instagram people commenting on below his pictures, like, I would move to New York City just for this, or like, this is my mayor and I live in Minneapolis, like things like that.
We were making those jokes.
Exactly. And I think that it was just because they resonated so strongly with his message, and it was all very lighthearted. Obviously, like,
it's not genuinely based on excluding people.
Exactly. But I think it just created this sense of like people wanting to really identify with the movement and with his campaign. And I think that was really powerful. It made, I'm sure being in New York at that time felt like being in the epicenter of this big global movement to change politics for the better.
Why do you think, like, okay, I completely agree that he kind of created this, like, New York's hottest club. But why do you think it is, let's see. I feel like it genuinely very quickly became a cool thing to be a Mamdani supporter, to be in this, like, sort of in-group. Do you think there's a particular reason for that? Do you think it's sort of just, like, his marketing and what we've been talking about, or sort of just more with his own charisma, or some combination of both?
Yeah, of course it's impossible to tease out like all of those facets that contributed to his campaign, because I'm 100% sure that all of those play a role. You know, it's what he believes in. Yeah. It's how charismatic he is. It's that he does feel like one of us, you know. There's so many reasons, but I do think that kind of like from a marketing angle, what I saw or what I think is that he was so unbelievably tapped into culture. It was insane.
Yes.
Like, I really haven't seen that before. He was at a Pink Pantherist concert.
Was he really?
Yes.
Oh, I remember seeing the video. Matt Bernstein posted a video of like, it's 3 a.m. and Mamdani just showed up at the gay club.
Exactly. He was showing up at gay clubs. That's
Amazing.
what he was behind the DJ booth. He was like really like grooving with the people, you know.
So tapped
he was unbelievably tapped in, and he was meeting people where they authentically gathered and celebrated. Yes. And he created this campaign that felt like New York's hottest club. Yeah. In a way that somehow kept this inclusive, positive, quite lighthearted spirit. He also used social media. He used memes and meme culture to show how much of a digital native he was, and to show how much he understood what it means to be a young person, what it means to be a young person in New York City. I want to show you this meme.
It's a meme. It looks like it's some kind of flower, and it's just a photo of Mamdani, and it says in purple and yellow and red font over top of it, polls are now open. Yeah. I actually don't know this meme. Is it referencing an existing one?
Well, it's not really a meme. It's okay, sorry. More like a poster.
Okay, so it's a poster that he used and posted on his Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to know, like, what vibe does it give you? Kind of like, what do you get from it?
It's giving, the colors look very, like, in line with the colors of his campaign, but it is kind of formatted like a meme. Like, that is what it's giving. It would not look out of place if I was just scrolling through my Instagram and saw this. I would not immediately say, like, oh, this is a political candidate's post. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it could be from a meme account that I follow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It kind of has this, like, lo-fi, like, or, like, kind of, like, what is the word I'm looking for?
Maybe lo-fi, kind of like unpolished.
Yeah. It sort of has this like unpolished, it looks like you made it on your like,
it looks like a shit post.
Yeah, it looks like a shit post. Yeah, exactly. And to see this from a political candidate, you know,
I have to look at it again because that's actually so funny. I think I just wasn't taking it in properly the first time. Yeah, this is a shit post. Yeah, but it's Mamdani telling people to go to the polls. It doesn't remind me. This is making me want to contrast it with. Do you remember Pokemon Go to the Polls?
Oh, remind me.
Hillary Clinton. So summer 2016. Okay. Was the summer that Pokemon Go came out and got really big and everyone was playing it. And that was obviously when Hillary Clinton was running against Trump. And there's this, I think it was one of her town halls or something. And she goes, Pokemon, go to the polls. And it was just like, I mean, it was just so clearly this person who, you know, she was like in her 60s at the time. So not in touch with youth culture. Someone on her team definitely said, hey Hillary, to be in touch with youth culture, like, hey Hillary, to be in touch with youth culture, like, you should be making this joke. But like it just didn't resonate at all. And it actually like got memed and made fun of so much because it was just so clearly inauthentic. And this is just such a different vibe of like, he's probably following the same meme accounts we are. Right. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like yeah, he is a digital native. He's one of us.
Yeah. He totally gets it, right? And so I think that the way that he used social media and memes was just brilliant. Yeah. And I've never seen that before.
I haven't either. And I think that I think what we earlier when I asked like what do you think was different about Kamala Harris and her campaign, and I just think like people were sort of memeing her in the same way, but I don't think her campaign was using it in the same way or as effectively. Like, I think it was more in the vein of, like, Pokemon Go to the polls. Right. And also, I just think young people, like, when I say young people, I'm speaking maybe, like, 40 and under. I think we are so starved for candidates that we feel, like, represent us and understand us and, like, the plights we're facing. Like, it just is... I don't know. It's just, it seems like everyone in Congress is 80 years old. Like, I remember a few years ago seeing Mark Zuckerberg testify in front of Congress about, it was some like Facebook privacy or fact-checking thing. And he literally was having to like explain to Congress people, God, like, they were like, well, how does Facebook get funded? And he's like, well, we sell ads. Like, they just do not understand the most basic things. And it's like, well, then of course you're not going to understand like how hard it is for us to afford a house in college.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, you just don't get it at all.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Mamdani's digital presence really made me feel like he totally understood what I was going through and what I see online as a 30-something, you know? And yeah, I think that was so impressive. Yeah. I think just like along those lines, like he really spoke the language of the people, you know? He did in terms of memes and meme culture, but he also literally spoke the language of the people. So like I saw an ad where he's like speaking Arabic and he doesn't speak, I don't think, it seemed to me like he had an beginner to intermediate knowledge of Arabic. But in the commercial, he's speaking Arabic and he says he admits that his Arabic needs work, but he was trying, right? And I just find that to be so respectful and such a way of kind of unifying people and I feel like he really showed like, I will try to speak your language even if I'm not fluent in it. I will try to speak it, and I feel like that is like one of the quickest ways to unite people is through language. So yeah, not only like memes and meme culture, that's a language in itself, but also like literally he also did his best to speak as many languages as he could.
Wow.
So we're getting close to the end, but I wanted to contrast, I wanted to kind of touch quickly on Cuomo's campaign and his deeply depressing boomer energy and kind of how
depressing boomer energy. That is the best way I've ever heard anyone describe Andrew Cuomo.
That's 100% what his campaign was giving. Yeah, like I just felt sad the entire time watching it.
Yeah, there's nothing inspiring, there's nothing uplifting. It's just like, what is this old man doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Like, get him out of here. He's so out of touch.
Yeah.
You know, like, ready on day one. What does that mean? I think his campaign really just showed me how out of touch Cuomo actually is with the needs of the people, especially when contrasting that with Mamdani. The lack of a clear message is, again, it's a result of his corruption. He ultimately is beholden to billionaires and not the people like Mamdani. And I think that's clear from, you know, both the artistic, if you can even call them that, choices he made within the campaign, but all the way down to his funding, right? Like it just was an inauthentic and so therefore uninspired campaign.
So true.
Because it was not built with people in mind. No. So he can't make clear promises in the way that Mamdani can. So his messaging was muddied, you know?
Yeah.
And also conservatives make bad art, which you've said.
And they do, and I stand by that.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And he didn't understand he didn't have intimate knowledge both of, you know, the constituents he's serving, but also of art as a medium for politics, you know, as a way of uplifting or a way of advocating for the political causes that you care about. He's so deeply out of touch with what it means to be an artist, and that just really showed. And I want to show you this crazy anti-Mamdani attack ad.
Oh my God.
That actually I think was pulled. So it was pulled like shortly after he posted it, and he blamed an intern or like blamed some like
and Cuomo's campaign actually posted this. Okay,
they actually posted this, and he was like, "Oh, that some intern posted that. Like, I didn't have anything to do with that." Yeah, right.
Zohran Mamdani's opponents want you to believe he's an inexperienced radical whose policies will make New York City more dangerous. But what do his actual supporters think?
Mamdani isn't crazy.
He's just trying to even the playing field.
You know, give everyone a fair shot.
Democratic socialists' ideas are common sense, such as
Decriminalizing misdemeanors, like shoplifting.
third-degree assault,
Trespassing.
prostitution,
and drunk driving.
Mamdani is finally lowering jail sentences.
guilty! But Mamdani says you're free to go.
For unlawful abiding citizens like us, globalize the intifada.
I'm a criminal. I'm a criminal. I'm a criminal.
I'm a criminal.
Yep. I'm a criminal.
For Zohran.
For Zohran Mamdani.
I didn't have a real job until I was 30, but sure, give me the keys to the city. What's the worst that can happen?
Paid for by Cuomo for NYC.
Okay, so first of all, I don't know why this is what stuck out to me, because obviously there's a lot to talk about in that ad, but why do they love to harp on the they've never had a real job thing? I remember them doing this to AOC.
Yeah.
I don't know what his job was before this. I don't really care that much, to be
Right.
honest.
It doesn't really matter. Like, I think you can do it.
matter.
Like,
But
Yeah.
first of all, okay, even the fact that that ad is AI speaks to how, like, very obviously AI, speaks to how obviously out of touch this whole campaign is.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. People do not want to see AI. I think people are tired of it. I think like, I can't speak for everyone, but like, I personally find AI generated art, especially, like, deeply inhuman and disturbing.
yeah.
It's like, that's a job that could have gone to an actual artist.
Exactly.
Like, it's just
Which,
even,
if you cared about the lives of working artists,
or
you would have
working
hired,
a
or
real
just
artist.
working class people in general, you would have
Yes.
hired a human person
Yeah.
to create the art in your campaign.
Yeah, it's just like, even that choice in and of itself just
Yes.
speaks to like a deep out of touchness.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just so sad. And I did see multiple ads from him using AI. And that was basically my takeaway too. It's just a complete lack of attunement with what is, I think most people are AI resistant, or like,
Yeah.
I hope anyway.
It's also really, the messaging of that ad is really giving like Ronald Reagan, like, keep criminals off our streets. It's like this very fear-mongery, like,
exactly.
Zohran wants to let criminals run loose, which is, as you said, a steep contrast to like the optimism and hope and positivity of Mamdani's campaign.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't have much else to say about it, but I was just like, is this real when I saw that? I mean, it's ridiculous.
And it's real?
It's real. Unfortunately, it's real. Okay. Yeah, he did pull it off the air quickly after, but I saw some other ads of his, like I said, using AI, and I think
loved,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I loved at the end when it said paid for by Cuomo for New York, and I was like, paid what? It's AI generated. What do you mean?
Who did you pay?
Who did you pay? Did you pay?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. In comparison, we could take a look at one of Mamdani's attack ads, and just, I'd love to hear what you notice.
4 years ago, Andrew Cuomo resigned in disgrace, and you probably know why.
The governor's office kept the nursing home death data secret.
Cuomo aggressively groped an aide.
Inappropriately touched a female state trooper.
Use of state resources for a COVID-19 memoir.
Less well known is what he spent the last 4 years doing, besides getting trounced in the Democratic primary. In 2022, Cuomo started Innovation Strategies LLC to represent individuals and corporations in a variety of matters. Definitely not vague. Last year, it raked in more than $500,000. Who paid for Cuomo's services? He refuses to say. But what journalists have been able to piece together is troubling. In April, Bloomberg revealed that Cuomo advised a cryptocurrency exchange based in the Seychelles as it faced federal investigations. Then in May, Politico reported that Cuomo failed to disclose $2.6 million in stock options to the New York City Conflicts of Interest Board. His excuse? The stocks were technically owned by Innovation Strategies LLC, of which he's the sole proprietor. Finally, in June, the New York Times uncovered that Cuomo had worked with his longtime friend Andrew Farkas on a luxury marina project in Puerto Rico. Farkas' previous partner on luxury marinas in the Caribbean? Jeffrey Epstein.
We had a finance chair like none other, Andrew Farkas.
That's the thing about Andrew Cuomo. Once you think you found out about all of his scandals, you find out about another, and then another, and then probably another. But if my friend, the disgraced former governor of the state of New York, feels that's unfair, Habibi, release your client list.
4 years. So what do you
so
think?
Good. It's just so good.
I know.
The ad is Mamdani like walking down a very regular looking street in New York. He's in a suit, but like his jacket's unbuttoned, no tie. He's striking these very casual poses. But I don't know. I think in other candidates that could seem very contrived, but it's like it feels very natural. Like he really is just like he's talking about Cuomo's various scandals and corruptions and assault allegations and mishandling of COVID-19, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I think as we were speaking on before, like a very to the point, very clear, concise language. Just very direct messaging.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I felt like, I don't know, again, that was such a good example of how much he understands the way people today like want to receive information.
Yes.
It felt like, you know, the editing of it, the pacing, it almost felt like I was watching like this cool like YouTube video.
Or like a TikTok.
A TikTok, an investigative kind of like cool, online video, you know? I sound like a boomer saying that. Online video.
An online video. No,
but yeah, like a TikTok or something.
Yeah, even like the speed of his speech and how it really is so tapped into to how people receive information today, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. And somehow it felt again like it just solidified my desire to want to be a part of Mamdani's club.
Yes.
You know, it made it feel like I think somehow I even felt joy watching that.
No, I'm actually having a hard time not like gushing over him because it made me laugh. Like I'm like, he's just so charming.
He
is.
Like, he's very charming, and I feel like he had so many reasons. Like it was so easy for him to point to why Cuomo is a corrupt asshole.
Of course,
you know. So he was working with pretty easy material there, but I think just like the way he delivered it and the pacing, the kind of like connection with the audience, the somehow joy that came through,
even in an attack
ad, it felt like, well, we can bond over our hatred for Andrew Cuomo.
Yes, very that.
Yeah. Unlike Cuomo, who had to make up like racist. I don't know if you caught in Cuomo's ad, but he was like literally showing Mamdani like eating rice with his hands and like just other very racist images. Like I just felt like, you know, and very stereotypical images of like prostitutes and bums and like whatever. Like it was very stereotypical and prejudiced.
It's very like your boomer dad where you're like, you can't say that.
Like, don't say that at the dinner table. Like you just do not. That is really the what it was giving. And it's deeply sad and depressing, but yeah, I think like just like seeing Mamdani even handle an attack ad with joy, I think like was another thing that really stood out to me about this campaign.
Definitely.
But yeah, overall I think that Mamdani's campaign pulled off something that ad execs have been trying to do since the beginning of advertising, since Mad Men times.
Yes, I'm watching Mad Men currently.
Which is be authentic, you know? And I think what really allowed him to achieve that was him truly practicing what he preached.
Yeah, it's almost like authenticity comes through.
Yeah. So I feel like, you know, he represents a version of marketing that I want to see more of. One that isn't the pastry, right? One that is a whole meal that tastes good and is good for you.
Yes.
And I think
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Wow, Plato's a pretty smart guy. You guys maybe have heard of him.
Have you ever heard of Plato?
I'm like, what a good analogy you came up with there.
Yeah, I feel interested in learning more about marketing so that we can use it as a tool for the right causes, because God knows that these people are going to be out here using it for the wrong ones. So how do we utilize these really important tools for the right causes?
Totally. I think that's such an interesting point. I think like before you made the point to me that marketing really can be used for good. I think it's so often thought of as an industry that is disingenuous and just like scheming to part people from their money. And often it is.
Yeah,
but it really is. It really can be a tool for positive impact as well.
Yeah, it can be. I think the examples are few and far between, unfortunately. But yeah, I'd love to see more, and interested in learning more about this.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
What's our outro?
I'm sorry.
Okay. We've been filming for too long and we're getting
I'm getting a little giddy
and giggly. So we're gonna go eat some popcorn and watch Killing Eve now.
Yes.
And our cats have been very patient and sweet.
Yeah.
So maybe cuddle them a little bit.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, and
we will see you in 2 weeks.
Catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.